sun rises over Fort Knox, Kentucky, cutting through the mist that rolls across the sprawling training fields. The air is heavy with anticipation, a silence about to be broken. In a few hours, bus doors will swing open, and a new wave of recruits will step onto this sacred ground. Young men and women about to begin the most intense transformation of their lives. For generations, Fort Knox has stood as a crucible of the United States Army, a place where civilians are stripped down to the core and rebuilt into soldiers. What happens here is more than physical conditioning. It's the forging of identity, the awakening of discipline, and the beginning of a lifelong brotherhood. The buses arrive. Inside, nervous chatter fills the air. Some stare out the window, memorizing their last moments of freedom. Others sit in silence, hands clasped, minds racing through questions they can't yet answer. What have I signed up for? Can I handle this? What if I fail? Then the doors open, and the world outside erupts in command. Drill sergeants descend like a storm, voices sharp, precise, and unrelenting. The tone is unmistakable. Welcome to boot camp. From that instant, the transformation begins. Personal space disappears. Individuality takes a back seat. Every recruit becomes part of a system designed to push, shape, and unify. They're told where to stand, how to move, when to speak, and when to remain absolutely silent. It's not chaos, it's orchestration, a calculated dismantling of old habits and hesitation, preparing minds to think as one unit. The first few days are known as the shark attack, a controlled burst of intensity meant to shock recruits into awareness. The drill sergeants aren't angry, they're molding clay. Every shout, every command, every second of confusion is deliberate. It's about erasing the self-doubt that could one day cost lives on the battlefield. Fort Knox, once synonymous with America's gold reserves, has for decades guarded a different kind of treasure, the foundation of its fighting force. During World War II, hundreds of thousands trained here before shipping off to Europe and the Pacific. They learned to march, to shoot, to endure. The echoes of those generations still linger across the rolling Kentucky hills, the cadence of boots hitting gravel, the bark of drill sergeants calling out counts, the sound of rifle fire in the distance. Each class carries that legacy forward, a living thread in the Army's long tradition of transformation. As the first week unfolds, exhaustion becomes constant company. Recruits learn that sleep is a privilege, not a guarantee. Mornings begin before dawn with physical training. Push-ups, sit-ups, sprints through cold air, sweat mixing with mud. The drill sergeants push them to the edge, not to punish, but to show them where the edge truly is and how much further they can go. Pain becomes data, fatigue becomes feedback, and with each repetition, they discover something new. They are capable of far more than they imagined. In the mess hall, meals are quick, efficient, eaten in silence. Forks clatter against metal trays as hundreds eat in perfect rhythm, time measured down to the minute. Even here, discipline rules. Every moment, every motion reinforces one idea: order under pressure. In the Army, structure is survival. Classroom sessions follow, where recruits learn Army values, chain of command, first aid, and the laws of armed conflict. Between the drills and the shouting, there's a quieter education happening, one about responsibility, integrity, and respect. They learn the weight of a uniform, the meaning behind a salute, the cost of leadership. The Army isn't just training them to fight, it's teaching them to represent something larger than themselves. Then comes the range. For many, it's the first time they've held a rifle. The weapon feels heavy, foreign, powerful. Instructors walk them through every detail: the stance, the breath, the squeeze of the trigger. At first, shots scatter wide, but over days of repetition, something clicks. They adjust, adapt, refine. The first bullseye isn't just accuracy, it's confidence. Each shot builds trust, not just in the weapon, but in the body that wields it. The sound of rifles firing in unison becomes a chorus of progress. Outside the range, The obstacle courses await. A brutal series of walls, ropes, tunnels, and trenches that test every ounce of endurance. Mud clings to uniforms. Hands tear, muscles tremble. But quitting isn't an option. Around every course, the air fills with the shouts of encouragement from those who've already climbed, crawled, or leaped ahead. In those moments, the Army's core truth comes alive. No one succeeds alone. Bonds form in the dirt, in the sweat, in the shared struggle. A group that arrived as strangers begins to move as one. Weeks pass. The transformation is visible now. Posture straightens. Movements sharpen. The chaos of the first days gives way to precision. Drill and ceremony, marching, turning, saluting, becomes a kind of poetry in motion. To an outsider, it might look rigid, but to a soldier, it's rhythm, control, unity. Every synchronized step is a message. We are stronger together. Throughout the process, drill sergeants remain the constant presence. They are both tormentors and teachers, demanding perfection but recognizing potential. Beneath the tough exterior, there's purpose, and sometimes a quiet pride. Many of them once stood in the same boots, felt the same fear, heard the same commands. They know exactly what it takes to break through doubt and reach the other side. By the time recruits reach their final phase, known as the Forge, they've endured weeks of mental and physical trials. The Forge is a 96-hour culminating exercise that simulates the stress of combat. Sleep is scarce. Food is limited. Every task tests teamwork and endurance. They march miles with heavy packs through rough terrain, cross rivers, navigate under pressure, and respond to simulated battlefield scenarios. The experience strips them down once more, but this time it reveals something different. Beneath the exhaustion, there's pride. Beneath the fatigue, resolve. They've earned the right to call themselves soldiers. When the Forge ends, they march back to base at sunrise. As the formation moves across the field, something remarkable happens. The drill sergeants who once shouted now walk silently beside them. There's no need for words. The noise of transformation has quieted into understanding. They've done it. They've crossed the line from civilian to soldier. The next morning, the families arrive for the graduation ceremony. Flags wave. Cameras flash. The recruits stand in perfect formation, faces still, eyes forward. For parents and loved ones, it's almost unbelievable. The same son or daughter who left weeks ago now stands taller, leaner, more composed. Every salute carries weight. Every uniform tells a story. The national anthem plays, and for a moment, time seems to hold still. The transformation is complete, but the journey is only beginning. Fort Knox has seen countless graduations like this, stretching back through decades of American history. In every era, the world has changed. The technology, the tactics, the threats, but the essence of boot camp has not. Its mission remains timeless: to take the raw courage of volunteers and refine it into disciplined strength. Behind every medal, every mission, every act of service, there is a beginning that looks exactly like this. Nervous recruits stepping off a bus, unsure of what's ahead, and walking into the unknown with nothing but resolve. Beyond the fields and barracks of Fort Knox, the lessons learned here ripple outward. The Army's training philosophy, adapt, overcome, unite, extends into every part of life after the uniform. Many who graduate from boot camp will go on to serve in distant places, face challenges few can imagine, and carry the discipline of this place into every decision they make. Others will return to civilian life changed forever, their time at Fort Knox a defining chapter that shaped who they became. For all its toughness, boot camp is ultimately an act of belief. Belief in what people can endure. Belief in what they can achieve when pushed to their limits. Belief in the power of purpose. Inside every soldier forged here is a reminder that transformation is never easy, never gentle, but always necessary. As night falls over Fort Knox, the sounds fade, the shouts, the drills, the rhythmic beat of boots on pavement. The fields fall silent again, waiting for the next dawn, the next generation, the next group of recruits who will arrive trembling, uncertain, and ready to be remade. The cycle will continue, as it has for nearly a century, an unbroken line of transformation that defines not just a place, but a nation. Because here at Fort Knox, the Army does more than build soldiers. It forges character, courage, and the enduring promise of those willing to serve. And in that promise, the spirit of America stands unbreakable. From ordinary lives, extraordinary soldiers are born, and it all begins here.